And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 93 of Rope-A-Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back yet again on a Monday to bring you all that's gone on in the boxing world. As you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, you know the score, especially if, you should know the score if you're a regular. And if you haven't done it yet, do it now. Click that like button and click that subscribe button right now. You scratch my back, you scratch our back, and we'll scratch yours. And obviously, if you're new to Rope-A-Dope Boxing, do exactly what I've just told the other guys to do. Click subscribe, and you can get this wonderful boxing content on a weekly basis as you go back in the archives. Obviously, if you go on YouTube, you've gone from episode 80 something, but if you go back into the archives on Spotify and on Apple and all the other sort of audio platforms, you go back from number one. And we're doing this on a weekly basis. So yeah, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied here a little bit. But yeah, do the same on Spotify and Amazon as well. Follow us, like us, give us a 5-star review and all that kind of jazz. David boy, how's your weekend been, brother? Haven't spoke much to you. We've slightly spoke off air. You've got a bit of ranting to do today, but I think you've got a bit of ranting to do ASAP, haven't you?
Well, my weekend was my dad's birthday, so I went and saw him on Saturday, 75. The lads getting on. A few pictures of us in Celtic shirts, so that was very nice. Yesterday, I broke my going on the piss. I said I wouldn't have a drink for January. I wasn't doing dry January, but I did say that I probably won't drip.
Did we discuss that?
No, I don't know if we did. I can't remember.
We did, no.
I wasn't planning on going out or nothing, but Arsenal were playing Man United in the FA Cup, so I went down to local yesterday. I had 8 pints. So
I bet you wish you hadn't bothered now.
I know. I went in there giving it some, you know what I'm like. I was giving it a big, and then Man United went down to 10 men. And then Arsenal scored straight away. Still half an hour to go. Then it's gone extra time and penalties. I knew the minute it went to penalties we'd lose. It's just fucking sod's law. So yeah, so I broke my my vow to not drink. I was a little bit, and I'm not an alcoholic by any sense of the imagination, but after 10 days of not drinking, I did fancy one. So
alcohol dependent, Mr. Holland is. He's not an alcoholic, he's alcohol dependent. Yeah. Like there's a difference.
Yeah, and the only falls and horses where he goes, the doctor said I've got a problem, but I ain't got no problem. I like it. But my rant is, Lee Harper's getting married this year. Stupid enough, I said I'd book the flights for me, Mickey, and Miller, and it was okay booking it. No issues, bloody. But they've paid, most of them. Miller paid, money bags. Miller paid it all up front as you would. But me and Mickey are paying it off. And Ryanair cancelled our flight and put us on a shit flight. So our flight was 8 o'clock in the morning for a stag do. So on a Friday. So we get the full day Friday. But Ryanair decided to cancel that flight and put us on a flight that leaves London at 6 o'clock at night, which means we don't get there till 9:30 at night. So we lose the whole day. So I've gone to Love Holidays, they're saying, right, go to Ryanair. I've gone to Ryanair. Ryanair have said go to Love Holidays. So I've been doing this all Friday afternoon, and I'm still none the wiser. And I've been at it. I've been back and forth on emails all fucking day, and I'm still none the wiser. So, honest to fucking God, like I booked the fucking thing through Love Holidays. You think they would deal with it, but now I'm having to phone the airline. I mean, what the fucking hell is going on here? So I'm stressed to fuck with that. And then the worst thing is, they want to charge me for changing the flights for a flight they cancelled.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's their fault, and they're asking you to cough up more dough.
They want us to pay. And I'm at the point where my head is spinning so much, I'll fucking pay it. But I shouldn't. I should dig my heels in. But then the flight that I want, that Lee Harper's now got onto, if I fuck around too long, it'll go. So I'm going to catch 22 here. I'm going to give it another crack tomorrow. And but I've been, I mean, I'm not rude, but you see, I've lost my complete patience now. So on the phone to them and in emails, I'm just blunt as fuck. Like, is there anything you can help me? I said, yes, I want to get a fucking flight if there's any danger and all that. So I'm all like that with them at the moment. But so they've stressed me to fuck with that. So I'm glad we've come and done this, because I walked in the door fucking fuming. And then what they do, they give you a bot. And I'm chatting to this bot for fucking God knows how long, and they won't put. And in the end, I get put through to someone, and they said 5 minutes. 45 minutes later, that song's still going on. So I hung up on that. But yes, it's a disaster.
What's the song, by the way? What song?
No, it wasn't. There was no. It's not a song that I know. It was just a fucking tune.
Yeah, I was getting to hum it.
Oh yeah, I had it on loudspeaker in the office. I think I drove everyone mad with that. So it's a fucking nightmare. I mean, you're going away for 3 fucking days. It shouldn't be this hard.
No.
So
New Year stress, mate. Have you done any actual work today?
Yeah. I did. Yeah, because I can multitask. I'm like a woman. So I've got the phone on loudspeaker and I'm working on the computer. But I was also had a tab open talking to the bot. So I was trying to kill two birds with one stone, and I didn't get anywhere with either of them. So yeah, a fucking nightmare. And then the last email I got 5 minutes before coming on, it was contact Ryanair from Love Holidays. So that's a lot. So I've given up for tonight. Otherwise, I won't sleep.
Well, you said you multitask like a woman. Perhaps you can talk boxing and book X amount of flights on the same time, mate. You know, you're that multi-skilled, mate. You can, if anyone could do it, David Holland can do it.
But that's true. But I don't want to. I want to just talk boxing now. I just want to talk boxing. I fucking
release all your stresses on boxing, mate.
Fucking drive me mad. Like I say, they make it hard, so you just give up.
Yeah, I think you're right. They do make it. It's like trying to ring the doctors as well. You wait on so long. Yeah. You get to you've been in the queue for about 25 people. You get down to number 3. You think there's only 2 more to go, and you either give up or it just cuts off. I reckon you're right there, mate. They do it till you give up.
Like I say, the last time I was ill, by the time I got an appointment, I was cured. Fucking hell. I phoned up, suggested I've got a bad chest and all that. I said, I think I need antibiotics. Went, come and see us Wednesday week. Wednesday fucking week. So I've cured myself by then. So I'll just give up. I'll give up with everyone.
Yeah. When they say things like that, you don't know how they keep a straight face as well. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, you've had a sort of a shit weekend.
The only good thing about Mondays for me is this. And that's right. And then I'll do this now and I'll simmer down. And then I'll go back to fucking Ryanair in the morning with a clear head. How long that will last, I don't know. But yeah, they have absolutely spun my head off today. I don't usually book shit like this for this reason. But
what's Mickey doing to help? Where's his involvement? Is he just passing the buck to you and you sort it and hope for the best? Is that how?
No. He did message me out the group and said just stick with the flights we got. But he would say that I want to get a full day on the sesh. I don't want to be getting there at 9 o'clock at night. I'm meant to be there at fucking 9. We're coming back on Monday morning. So if we get there fucking Friday night, we've got all day Saturday and we can't even get really smashed on Sunday, even though we will, because our flight's early on Monday. So Friday night and Saturday night are the nights. So, that's Mickey for you.
He's probably having a look at all the restaurants, isn't he, in the 5-star hotels.
Oh, that's what I mean. He's only got a couple of cigars, so he needs to save them. For fuck's sake. So, he's no help.
Should we talk a bit about boxing now?
Yeah, I probably drove everyone mad for fucking 8 minutes talking about Love Holidays.
Yeah, you have to keep. Are you promoting them or denouncing them? Or
no, they can. As far as I'm concerned, they can get fucked. I've never booked with them either, and it'll be the fucking last time I do.
So it's up with Lumpolly, mate. Remember Lumpolly?
Teletext Holidays. I should have done that.
My weekend's been boring, mate. All the football has been cancelled. The lads, the daughters, the established women was postponed. So I just had 1 hour's sleep. I went straight on, you know me, guys, straight on the beer, had a few Madries and straight on the bottles of wine. Got home and I was in bed for 8 o'clock, mate. Woke up 5 o'clock this morning. So hopefully we can get cracking again this Saturday and Sunday, especially with the kids' football now, because it's dragging. They're a bit over the top, Dave. In my opinion, they're a bit over the top. When we were kids, I remember when I was playing for Acton and Ealing Whistlers when I was like 10 or 11. Honestly, mate, I remember there being snow on the pitch and we played with like a yellow ball. You've only got other snowflake here and they're fucking cancelling it 2 days before. It's a bit over the top.
They're saying frozen pitches. It's all bollocks.
It's all bollocks, honestly. So I hope we're going to have a better weekend football-wise this weekend. So I did say we're going to talk a bit of boxing. We will review the fights from the weekend and on Wednesday night. I just want to go over a couple of things. I've come away watching the presser for February the 22nd. That was on in London about an hour ago. Bivol Beterbiev. Watching that, Dave, it's really weird because I wouldn't say it's weird. We've said it before. You've got 5 main events on the card. So obviously, you're starting with Callum Smith and Boatsi and Zhang versus Caballero. You've got Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Madrimov. And I'm watching all of them. And my missus is sitting next to me. She went, who's going to win this one? Who's going to win this one? Obviously, she doesn't know who they are. And I turned around to her and I said, do you know what? I don't know. These are all 50-50 fights. Floyd Schofield wasn't there. And I was trying to explain that's the only 70-30, if you like, 60-40 maybe for some people. But I said, I honestly don't know. But watching that, when Daniel Dubois faced off against Joseph Parker, I was watching that, Dave. And I thought, how boxing is such a crazy sport. I looked at Daniel Dubois and I thought, you were made to quit by Joe Joyce. And I looked at Joseph Parker and I said, you were beat up and battered. Yeah. Where's Joe Joyce now? He's beat both of them. One's a champion, one's a former champion. He's getting knocked down by Derek Chisora, and he can't even get a Saudi card.
No.
Crazy, isn't it?
You're only as good as your last fight, mate. And that is that. I say Joe Joyce, because obviously Joe Joyce, he came into it late. His window of peak was a year and a half, maybe 2 years max, and he's had the stuffing knocked out of him now. And yeah, and Joe, what though? But I like the stories of Joseph Parker and Dubois and that. You know, like they're losing the O and then thinks it shouldn't define you. And you know, you should be able to bounce back and still have a good fucking career. Like, you know, a couple of defeats, some people disappear off the face of the earth. Turkey's brought that back, really. He really, really has. You know, he's brought the I wouldn't say the underdog, but you know, you're not always down and out. You know, and a couple of good wins and you're back in with a shout. And that's exactly what these two have done. And you know, Joseph Parker's been the same. It's not as good as Rise for me as Dubois, because Dubois was, you know, he took some stick. But and we spoke about his run in our yearly review last week. I mean, that takes some topping. But Joseph Parker's been in with some names and all. He really
yes.
And
Joe Joyce, mate. I think where he is now, where these two guys are, it should have been the other way around.
Yeah.
After what he done to both of them, it's crazy, mate. Crazy.
It is, yeah. What
did you make of Fury's retirement today? I'm guessing you've seen it.
Yeah, it was. It was in my news, but we can talk about it now. I don't believe it's going to happen. He does this sort of stuff, and then he said something about a mask, and he's talking about being robbed, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, what was it?
It's a tendency. I can't believe how the internet's sort of gone crazy over it. We've seen this before. He retired before. Obviously, he had a belt then. He didn't dash the belt in the bin. He hasn't got a belt now. But this is all mind games leading up to Fury AJ in the summer. He said he's in it for the money now. He says it's all about money. He doesn't care about legacy. He doesn't care about belts. Well, he cares about money, clearly. Is it going to be Turkey Al Sheikh to tempt him out of so-called retirement that he gets an even bigger purse? He ain't retired, guys. You've heard it here first. He has not retired.
No,
that motherfucker will be back out in the summer, just outside of Riyadh season, Wembley Stadium. Guarantee it, mate. Guarantee it.
And the thing is, well,
sorry, mate. Turkey Al Sheikh's made a list of all the fights he wants, and I've just been watching the presser. Yeah. And Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are right what they're saying. So far, all the fights Turkey said that he wants, he's got them all, and that's one he wants.
Yeah,
and he's going to get it.
The thing is, as well, with Fury, if Fury could be a champion again. And I'll tell you for why. Like I say, he comes in as a massive showdown with Anthony Joshua, does a number on Anthony Joshua, right? There may be a rematch. They may do 2 fights, okay. But the winner, the person who's got Dubois' belt, it might even be Dubois. If he comes off 2 wins against Joshua, he's in line for. He will get. His trajectory will rise to be able to have a shot. I know there's politics and all that.
Yeah, the name does it alone.
He can get a shot even if it's Parker or it's Dubois, whoever's got that. Listen, if it goes to Usyk, that's not happening. But you see that other belt that's scattered at this moment in time. 1 or 2 fights with Joshua and looks good at it. He's in line for that again. He could be a champion again. But again, I'm with you. Like, so he hasn't retired, and you know. And even if you don't see him for a year or so, he still hasn't retired from me. He could just bounce back out of nowhere. I mean, he went off before and got 30 stone and came back. But like I say, he's already banging the old "I've been robbed" drum with the last line of that retirement.
Going nowhere. He's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just lastly, the Ring Magazine Awards at the weekend. That was good actually. I watched bits and pieces. That obviously I was at work and I was involved in the boxing itself over on Sky Sports. But it's good to see Turkey's actually revived the Ring Magazine, if you like, isn't he? No one was really talking about it apart from sort of hardcore boxing fans. And obviously we make a noise on here about the Ring Magazine belts being that #1 belt. And, 1 versus 2, it means more to me as a boxing fan than the other bullshit sanctioning bodies. But they actually had an event, a collar and tie, a bit like the Monaco cards Eddie does over in Monaco in France. Everyone was suited and booted. You had all the fighters from all over the world come over to London to have the awards, etc. It looked really, really good night. Lots of interviews, lots of photos. Turkey being photographed of each and every one. Awards handed out left, right, and centre. Usyk getting his flowers. Gabriel Fundora who I forgot about last week. She got her flowers as the female fight of the year and bits and pieces like that. So it's good to see. Hopefully Turkey now sort of kicks on and does that every year. And it's part of the plan to make the Ring magazine, I'm guessing, as the #1 belt. But just quickly on that, Dave, it was interesting for me to see Canelo there. Now, I know he's always got the invitation. He hasn't had a great year in terms of the guys he's fought. There hasn't really been much jeopardy there. Hasn't really been in line for any kind of awards. Obviously, Tyson Fury didn't turn up, but Canelo was there. He was all smiles, laughing and joking, having a great time, having photographs with Turkey. Now, a few months ago, we were told more or less by Canelo's team, by more or less Canelo himself, that he didn't want nothing to do with Turkey. He's the main man. He does what he wants. I don't need you. Funny that, because Terence Crawford turned up as well after.
Yeah.
I think you do need Turkey, son. I think you do need Turkey, and I've said it on there, and you said it as well. It's only a matter of time before he swallows it, and he takes a Turkey purse, and he gets in the ring. The way it's the projected, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, Dave, obviously there's a lot of sound bites, a lot of Chinese whispers, but when you see Canelo, Turkey, and Crawford not all together, but doing different deals at different times and different days, it kind of puts it together that will be the fight to make. And I've said it on here. It'll either be May, Cinco de Mayo, or it'll be September, the Mexican Independence Day. It's going to happen. It's because where else does Canelo go?
Yeah.
You can go Benavidez, but obviously Benavidez is fighting Morrell. We didn't want to do that at 168. There's the Bivol fight. Obviously, Bivol's up there with Beterbiev. There's Beterbiev to fight as well. Yes, the fight doesn't do a lot for Canelo because he's fighting a guy from weight division 2 or 3 below him. Yeah. But the money's going to be massive. It's going to be on a Mexican Independent Day card. You know, this does a lot for Crawford. I just think pieces of the puzzle are being put together, Dave, and that's what I'm taking out of it. I'm so confident that we're going to see that fight because, again, where does Canelo go? Who does he fight?
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I didn't really know if it was going to happen, but now I've seen photos of Canelo with Turkey at this sort of gala event. It sets the tongues wagging, and that's what it's supposed to do. But for me, it looks closer than ever now. The fact that they've been pictured together, because there was talk of him not getting on, and he doesn't need him, like you said.
Doesn't need him.
And now there's that picture. You know, it just means that it's now more than ever closer to being made for me. Regardless of what I feel about the fight, I'm not. Listen, I'll watch it. I'm not a massive fan of it. I don't like to jump up in 2 weights from Crawford. Again, we've spoken about it before, where we would like. I would have liked him to gone up one, then gone up, you know. But listen, if it's going to be made, it's going to be made. But
maybe he does that, Dave. Maybe he does that in May, Crawford. Maybe he jumps to here. What about this? Imagine he jumps to 160, Crawford first.
Yeah.
Because it's Terence Crawford, pound for pound superstar. Imagine he gets, I don't know, the Lara fight, right? At 160, beats Lara, becomes a 5-weight world champion. Yeah. Then in September goes Canelo, goes for 6 times.
I would prefer that. I would prefer that, mate. Listen, it's 2 pound for pound greats. It's 2 elite, and obviously it'd be the event, a build up, everything would be fantastic. But we've seen the jump before. But yeah, listen, they're not to put any sort of down on of it. It looks closer than ever for me to being made based on that.
Yeah,
I didn't watch too much of the awards. I did ask, because I didn't watch it. I did ask if Tyson Fury was there. I think he should have gone, but for any reason he hasn't. And yeah, it looked like a good event. I see Conor Benn and fucking Ryan. Conor Benn is shouting and screaming at everyone that went past. I like Conor Benn, but I say he's turning into a bit annoying.
That's the one I was going to use. Yeah, it's getting a bit annoying, isn't he?
He's just creating beef and trying to, and it's just, you're talking in the ring, man. Like I say, that he acted a bit of a prick to Ryan Garcia, and that's hard to say really, because Ryan Garcia is, you know, he's usually the one that acts up. Yeah. But they were getting on all right, and he just turned it. I don't know why he turned it, because fucking beef creates views, and they you know, Garcia is meant to be the one that wants views, but it was more like Conor Benn there started. Even Brian Garcia, when you started that, was like, what, you know what I mean? I think I can't be arsed with it. I can't be arsed. It's turning me off of him. I say I'm a massive fan of his dad. And like I say, leading up to the last couple of years, like I say, you could get on the train with him, but the talking, you know, that is putting people off, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. And what might be putting people off, we haven't got into the fight yet. We've done 20 minutes, and we haven't spoke about the Cruiserweight King, Jai Opetaia, Wednesday night over in Australia in his native homeland, doing his stuff in Queensland. He took on David Nyika. I've got it right. They would pronounce his name as Nyika. Late replacement. ranked in one of the sanctioning bodies, or most of the sanctioning bodies, around about 10 or 12, whatever it was. Right. So I'm going to give Jai praise, and I'm going to poo-poo him or it or the division, and I'm going to give him praise again. So the praise starts with how savage and destructive, clinical, beast mode Jai was on Wednesday lunchtime for us here in the UK, against an opponent that some of us thought was jeopardy. Yes, me and Dave said last week we didn't think it would be as easy as it was in the end. We was hearing sound bites from different people that saw more of David Nyika. Yes, we see him in Saudi. He looks good. He's a decent boxer. But is he on Jai's level? It was proved on Wednesday that it wasn't. So there's the praise. And obviously you can guess where I'm going with the poo-pooing. Now, it's not Jai's fault. I said I was going to criticize Jai. It's not his fault. He's in my opinion, guys, he's in a crap division. Yeah. He's in a division where somebody like David Nyika has been pushed into the top 10 based on beating rubbish. Bar now, Marius Bradis has left the division. To me, that only leaves two guys that stand out like a sore thumb, which is Jai Opetaia and Gilberto Ramirez. Everybody else seems to be B-level. And don't mean to exaggerate. Yes, we've got Chris Billham-Smith in there. I mean, Badou Jack's the WBC champion. How old's he? I mean, he's not really a threat to anybody anymore. Chris Billham-Smith went in and tried to do a job on Ramirez. In the end, it was chalk and cheese. He's in a really weak division, so I'm probably being a bit too harsh. And the level of opponent Jai Opetaia has faced, your Jack Massey's, Ellis Zorros, David Nyika now, Jordan Thompson. No disrespect, he's gone in there and done exactly what he's supposed to do. But these domestic level opponents, they're not asking him any questions. They're not doing anything to sort of give him any jeopardy. But the praise, that was a bit of a poo-poo there, but the praise on him, he's calling out for the belts. He wants legacy fights. He's not interested in money. He's the best in the division. And to nail that down, Dave, has to be Gilberto Ramirez sometime this year. It has to be Ramirez, or if not, get the Badou Jack fight out the way, go and grab that WBC belt, push him to the side, unify, and then step up. The talk's all about Usyk. But yeah, just before we go into the fight, mate, that's how I see the division at the moment, because that on Wednesday afternoon, even though it was such a great fight, an exciting fight to start the year off with a fantastic knockout to finish it, Jai's up here and the rest of the guys are down here. There's no in between for me. There's two elite guys and the rest are rubbish. That may sound harsh. People might say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Who beats him? Who beats him? Bar Ramirez.
You know, and without sounding disrespectful, the cruiserweight division is very much like the women's division, where you've got the elite, you got the the Bs, the fringe world levels, and then the rest of them are nowhere to be seen. I'm with you with Jai Opetaia, but I've got a few questions based on this fight. Listen, I thought he performed well, but he did take some shots in that fight.
He was buzzed. He admitted it. He got buzzed in the second by Nyika. Did you notice though, Dave? Sorry to cut you off. Did you notice when he got buzzed, he was trading on the inside, even though his best work probably came on the inside. Well, the most success came when he was fighting on the inside, the 2 knockdowns, etc. But when he's fighting on the inside, that's when he was getting caught, and he did get buzzed. So I'm guessing that's where you're going with it. Apart from that, fantastic.
We did. But when you said you was going to do a negative, I thought you was going to go a negative that he got caught with too many shots, and I think that he did. And my question to this, and this what makes the Zurdo Ramirez fight really interesting for me, is that, and listen, I love Opetaia, as you know, I've been on his train since the start of this pod. Yeah. I think he looks very good against opponents that are standing in front of him. They haven't got a lot of lateral movement, are willing to trade, but he bulldozes them. Zurdo Ramirez has got a lot of movement, as you found out, against Chris Billham-Smith. And I want to see how Jai Opetaia performs when someone's not static in front of him. So it walks in straight lines. I say Zurdo Ramirez's movement and against Chris Billham-Smith, who fights. Listen, Chris Billham-Smith and Opetaia. For me, there's a difference between them. Yes, both world champions. Take nothing away from Billham-Smith, but Billham-Smith, he very much fights that way. But I think that obviously Opetaia is a lot more classier. But definitely. I want to see how Opetaia performs, and this is coming from a fan when he's up against Zurdo Ramirez, because Zurdo Ramirez ain't going to stand still. No,
he's got such good feet for a big man, isn't he?
He has. We spoke about his footwork against Chris Billham-Smith, and that's what makes this fight interesting. As it stands now, we know that at some point this year, that fight's going to get made.
It's the only fight, mate, Dave. It's the only fight. I'm saying, who else do we put him against? These well-timed mandatories that the IBF are forcing on Jai Opetaia. So say I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the division. I'm blaming the sanctioning bodies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only fight to make. You get even. I think. Sorry, mate. To interrupt. I think that Ramirez Zerdo's been supposed to be having a mandatory against Dorticus now. No one wants to see that.
No.
That means we've got to wait even longer now. The bright side of that is that Jai Opetaia, hopefully, and Eddie and Matchroom can get the WBC belt off Badil Jack. But that's going to be a pain in the arse because I think there's connection there with Don King and the champion in recess and Noel Mikalainen. It's just a shit division. I'm sorry to take you off, mate, but that is. I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but that's the only fight to make.
Yeah, it is.
That division is.
Like I say, but if I had to call that fight now, I wouldn't be out. Well, I would if I would have to, if it was fight week. But that for me, there's so many factors in that fight that makes that fight a 50-50 fight for me. Yes, everyone looks at Jai Opetaia as a wrecking ball, and he is, and he throws some lovely shots, and he's got a lot of venom in there. He he wants to take people out and whatnot, but he's looking great against limited opponents to me at the moment. Yes, we went in with Bradis, and Bradis was a quality fight, and for me, he still, the way he performed against Opetaia, he would be up there against anyone else, and I said that during their fight week, but yeah, the pool in that division is poor, and there is only one fight to make, and I don't want to keep prolonging it. But it's a lovely mix of styles there because you just don't know, and that's what makes this fight interesting. But there's only so many guys that we can keep going here and think, And to be fair, I thought this guy was Nyika. I think he was going to give him rounds. I really did. And in the actual fight, I felt in the first 2 rounds, I thought he was standing up to it. But I saw a gear change in Opetaia from round 3 on. He stepped up his work. He was punching in bunches. 3s and 4s, and and Nyika was. I think it's Nyika. Is it? You say Nyika.
Take the Y out. Just do Nika. Nyika.
Yeah, Nyika. He was only throwing single shots, and that was his downfall. There was more gears, and I felt he went up with the gears, and then got to round 4, buzzed him, dropped him. He got up, and then he went in for the kill, Opetaia, and he did look good when he went in for the kill.
Blood, baby.
Yeah, he smelled blood, and he sort of spun him, and then hit him bang flush on the chin, and he was actually asleep.
Yeah,
he was out cold, ruthless, and that's what you like about him. But I would like him to be ruthless against real good names. I want him to start taking out names because, like I say, the names that you rattled off there, he should be doing.
There's no names. That's what I'm saying. There's no names.
Yeah. He should be doing. But Joe, be fair to him. You have fighters like this in the past that we expect him to do these type of things against these opponents, and they struggle with these and don't like to get up for them. And he was like, they can't be asked because it's not a name. Very much like Teofimo. The way we talk about him, he goes in with someone and he's always a lackluster performance, and he gets in with someone great. You don't get that Opetaia. Opetaia treats everyone the same.
Yeah, he does.
He deals with what's in front of him. So listen. So yeah, it was a good start to the new year. Got one of the knockouts of the years. By the time we get to 12 months, we would have fucking forgotten about this so early. But do you know what? It's brewing up the Ramirez fight, Zerdo fight very nicely for me. I don't want one in between, but like you said, there's mandatories and all that sort of stuff. So we're talking, later this year. But for me, it's a real good styles here because Zerdo's going to have a game plan, and he ain't going to stand still and let Opetaia tee off on him. And his movement and his footwork so good that he can pick Opetaia off. There's going to be none of this in the phone box sort of fight with Zerdo. Zerdo's going to be plenty of lateral movement and picking him off with shots of his own, and he can hit as well. You only got to look at Chris Billam's face after that. He can do his own thing. So I'm looking forward to that fight, and that division needs that fight.
Yeah, again, yeah. From what I said at the start, it's the only one that we really want to see. Because that's the only one that's left. Just quickly before we move on to the next one, you mentioned about the savage knockout from Opetaia. Then it was savage on the ropes, iced him. But the first knockdown, Dave, if you go back and watch it, very well. I'd say it's clever. It's probably basic what he done. Jai Opetaia getting caught on the inside. Going into the first knockdown, I don't even notice he's on the inside, and he taps Nika's body 3 or 4 times, which makes Nyika drop his hands. Yeah. As soon as he drops his fucking guard, bang, uppercut on the chin, right down. I thought, Now I'm at an older age and I'm actually watching what boxers are doing rather than just looking at knockouts. I noticed it straight away. Very, very clever.
Yeah.
Knocked the body a few times, made the guard come down, saw that gap opening, smack, and obviously smelt blood. And it was game over from there. So, yeah, again, we spent a bit of time on this fight. It's the only one to make. And I put their Opetaia to Huni fight in 2025. So, on the undercard, ladies and gentlemen, we spoke last week. We had Justis Huni, an undefeated heavyweight, part of the matchroom team. I've got there for our audio listeners. What direction is Huni being pushed in? And I said last week, I don't understand the matchmaking from his management team, from Eddie Hearn. We've gone from fighting Kevin Lorena, having a tough fight, came through it. We normally fighters push on. And I said last week, this is a I told you so moment. And I've got this spot on. I've got it down to a T. I've got the round as well. I said that he would take care of this guy, Sean Pottinger, in 2 rounds. Because his previous opponents, he's knocked him out in 2 rounds. Dave, I can't get up for this. I can't get up for this rubbish.
Yeah.
What direction are they taking him in? Because I don't get it. Yes, he's getting paid. He's not being asked any questions. The fighters he's fighting against are club level fighters. He's knocking them out easy within 2 rounds. We don't go backwards from Kevin Lorena. Surely we move forwards. The Floyd Mayweather days have gone of protecting the O, protecting the product. But we're going to keep giving him rubbish like this, cannon fodder like this. And when he comes against somebody of any, I've written down a couple of names who I think might be okay for him next if he doesn't want to go in with the bigger boys, the jeopardy, if you like. He's just not learning anything, Dave. I know I'm an armchair fan. I talk about it. I don't do it. But honestly, I'm repeating myself from last week, dude. I don't get it. I just don't get the matchmaking after Kevin Lorena. It seems pointless. It seems backwards. Do you get it, mate?
No, I don't. I see Moses Atuma sort of let him put his name in there. He said he's one of the guys that he wants to fight. There's like a list of 4.
Good.
And,
Good,
Make
it. Why not?
But, I mean, I don't understand it. Like I say, there's plenty of other guys that he could get, you could get up for, like even like a David Adelaide or something like that. Put him in with that type of opponent. Like even if he wants to, they don't want to push him too closely. Put him in with an English level or British level type of fighter. But these guys are not even at that. And I just don't know what the plan is for him at the minute. But it's frustrating really because he's come off a win against Kevin Lorena. Kevin Lorena is now the Bridgerweight world champion.
Yeah, he's former cruiserweight champion, I think, as well, wasn't he? He's a good he's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He put Daniel Dubois down 3 times. He gives jeopardy there. He nearly beat Dubois. He's a name. Mate, I don't get it.
Yeah, and he's
with him.
Yeah, and he's ended up TKOing this guy, didn't he? In 2 rounds. It's one of them. I mean, he's obviously better than that level. But we need to find his level, and at the minute they don't seem to be wanting to take the chance. That's how I feel at the moment. I don't know what they're trying to protect. Let him off the leash. If he's as good as you think he is, or as good as he thinks he is, and what he says he is, then start stepping him up. Even put him in. Even now, do like a measuring stick and put him in with Dempsey McKean.
I thought we found that measuring stick with Lorena.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, Atuma. I mean, it's going to take very well to do a better number than Atuma done him. But put him in with there and see if he can do the same. And if he goes and does the same to Dempsey McKean, you've got some sort of a narrative there. You know what I mean? So it can build for something. But his opponents are frustrating because it's sort of like he's gone backwards when it comes to opponents. When he's young,
the matchmaking's poor.
Yeah.
Matchmaker's poor for me. So I've written down a couple of names here. Obviously, I'm thinking that they don't want to give him a Moses Atuma because I do believe they're probably protecting the O for what it's worth in this day and age. Boxing's got to get out of that habit now. No one cares about the O. Then Floyd Mayweather days are gone. Fuck that. One about making great fights, the best fights. And if you put him in with Atuma at the moment, that's a good fight. It's a great fight. Yeah. Huni loses. Is his career over? Is it? Fuck. No. He can come back, rebuild, and go again. So I get down here, Dave. Someone we spoke about a couple of times on here, which would I'm guessing would give him rounds. He possibly would beat him, but it'd be a good test for him. The old gladiator, Vianello. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Big step up from the cannon fodder he's been fighting the last 3 fights. You've got Murat Gassiev there that's always stiffed around to trying to get back into the, into the top 15 or whatever. Murat Gassiev, that'd be another great fight.
Yeah.
And obviously Michael talking around doing nothing. all these three guys, in my opinion, will be a good test for Justis Huni. Are they better than Lorena? Vianello's probably about the same, same sort of level, if you like. Gassiev was a fantastic cruiserweight, still trying to make the mark at heavyweight. And Michael Hunter's just so inactive, but he was a very good cruiserweight, trying to make his way for what it's worth at heavyweight. I'm not going to spend any more time on this day because I get frustrated talking about it because I'm too thick to understand why they're putting him backwards. But maybe it's just me. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, they need to move him on quick because it's only so many of these. And then what happens is he goes in with someone that he shouldn't even be sharing the ring with him, and then you'll get a potential banana skin, and and it fucking gets derailed by someone who shouldn't even be fighting in the first place because he's had too many of them. And
then we'll get he wasn't that good anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you who does need to be fast tracked. Terramana Jr. Obviously, it's his second fight for Matchroom. I think he's 5 or 6-0 now. 6'6" fucking Polynesian monster, silver medalist. Only defeat was Jajalov in the Olympics.
Yeah,
he's got the skills to pay the bills. He's got one punch power. He's a bit like a tumor. He's got that sort of vibe to him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He needs to be fast tracked a lot quicker than Justis Huni because he took his opponent out in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for in the future. Old Terramana Jr. But yeah, we'll move on now to Sheffield on Saturday night. Callum Simpson was the headline, the main attraction, defending his Commonwealth and his British super middleweight belts for the first time against Steve Woodall. We said last week this was a potential banana skin. Obviously, we saw Steve Woodall going against Luan Richards as a heavy underdog, and actually, I think he was losing the fight to my memory, and he pulled out. I won't so much say a gift of the gods, but he's been around a while, Steve Woodall, and he managed to knock out Luan Richards when he wasn't supposed to. So there was jeopardy there in this fight. Yeah. Callum Simpson's hardest fight to date on paper. Watching this, Dave, obviously, you can have your rant and rave in a minute. I won't go into too much, but from round one, I think the game plan from Callum Simpson was thus. I think it was Steve Woodall carries power. There's a lot of jeopardy in there. Go on the front foot, put him under pressure, try and get rid of him early. Bob's your uncle, Spanish your aunt. We've defended our belt. We move on. Because that was a spiteful version. That was a front-footed version. That's an attacking that was a completely different version of Callum Simpson that we'd seen previous. He looked well up. He looked strong. Obviously, the story of his sister dying, he's been very well documented through in the week. He's been very emotional. Was he fighting on emotion as well? He looked ripped. He looked fit. He looked healthy. He looked fantastic. He went on the front foot and got done what he needed to do. Fair fucks to Callum Simpson. Big ticket seller up there in Yorkshire. Yeah. I'm on the train. However, the manner of the win was controversial, if you like. I've got there for audio listeners that can't see. Simpson, Woodall, controversy. You text me about Jasmina Zapatochna, friend of the show that was there. I said she'd be there with Ebony Bridges, and straight away I made a remark, but he wasn't interested in that. You weren't happy with the stoppage, brother, was you?
No, I wasn't happy with the stoppage. I mean, I'd watched the whole show, and it was, to be fair, the quality on show wasn't great. There was a lot of really early round stoppage. I mean, the fight, more or less, it was meant to be the main event at 10:30. It started at 9:20 because not one fight went the distance. So, the card wasn't the best of cards, but I liked, the main event looked good. It showed the video of the little documentary they'd made of his sister, and the dad was there.
Done well with that guy. They've done well with that.
Yeah, they did. Even Johnny Nelson started crying. He walked off. He couldn't. He was upset. It was a lovely tribute, and it pulls on your heartstrings and that. Then you had the ring walks. I mean, there's a lot to like about Callum Simpson. There really, really is. He's a nice, humble guy. What's happened to him is awful. He's got some support, and they did come out for him. Yeah, the Barnsley lot. And you know what? Fair play. I loved that. I'm with you, and I said on last week's show, I'd seen pictures and videos of him, and he looked in great shape. He really, really looked motivated. He's obviously got a fire in his belly because of what's happened. It was a great start to the fight. I like the front foot. I mean, he's got some engine anyway. He's known for having a really good engine, but he come out the traps and come out the blocks really early and stamped his authority and looked very good. He threw some lovely shots, and
he overpowered Woodall a bit, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, he did.
Strength.
He really, really did. So it was a good first round. I thought, but you know, even how the first round was, I still felt like the fight would probably go middle to late rounds anyway. The way it was going, I thought Steve Woodall had a little bit about him, and then it comes to round 2, and then what happened. But like I say, Simpson had him on the ropes, and then Woodall was punching back, and the referee sort of stopped it in the middle of the ring.
Mm.
And I was like, no, listen, I know I felt, and I put a tweet out, I felt that the occasion and the sort of the crowd sort of influenced the listen, for me, I believe that, you know, he was going to get stopped legit straight after. I actually believe that. But I do think that the referee should have allowed, listen, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but make it conclusive. For me, I feel like the referee got built up in the whole occasion and stopped it way too early. I think Woodall was throwing a punch just as he sort of tried to stop it, and he was like, "What?" Yes, he was in trouble, but the stoppage was weird for me. It was premature. It was almost like Frotzgroves won, but this was worse because he wasn't even on the ropes when the referee stopped it. Now, I understand if you're up against the ropes, you're not firing back. Referee stumps in, that's fine, but he was sort of coming towards the center of the ring when the referee just went enough. And I thought, hang on, like, for me, it put a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth for our event. It was, you know, that part of the event was great from everything that went on, and it was his night. But I feel like he was sort of cheated of a conclusive win, which was coming. Yeah. And it sort of overshadowed it for me. I know he's come out and said, listen, a win's a win, blah, blah, blah. And he's right. And he did say a couple of seconds, but yeah. And listen, again, I don't want him to get hurt, Woodall, but I would have liked it to have been a legitimate stoppage. And now all it's done is make it look like I don't think anyone's calling for a rematch because, like, again, it was right, it was on the wall. But you know, if I wouldn't have been happy with that stoppage. I think the referee's at a mare, and I really do feel that the occasion's got to him, and he's jumped the gun a little bit too soon. Yeah. So yeah, it pissed me off a little bit. I've got to admit.
It doesn't look good for Woodall either, does it? Bless him. I mean, there was 2 belts on the line there. Obviously, he's come out. He wanted to win them. He didn't come to survive. He was trying to throw back. He's a lot more experienced than Callum Simpson. He's been there, worn the t-shirt. As I said, he's been in with Steve Rolls and a couple of other names. He was based out in America. He's based back in the UK now. He was kind of riding the storm, if you like. It was on TV on prime time. Seeing him get stopped like that was it's embarrassing, the word, because he didn't deserve that. He did not deserve that whatsoever. And it does take a little bit of shine off Callum Simpson's win, even though he was in the ascendancy. But it's just a rubbish stoppage.
Yeah, it was.
If buts and maybe, would Callum Simpson have gone on and got to get the stoppage, legit stoppage in the end? Possibly. Would Woodall sort of turn the fight around in the second half? Possibly. We're never going to know now. But yeah, you're probably right, mate. The referee did get kind of drawn into the occasion, if you like. But again,
I think he did.
Of the ring like that when he was off the ropes was made it kind of worse, if you like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting bludgeoned up against the rope, I can understand it, but he had sort of bounced off the ropes, and as the referee jumped in, he was trying to throw a shot. So it was just a weird stoppage. Like I say, the whole occasion I feel like got to the referee, and the referee jumped in at the first opportunity, and it was a little bit premature. But like I say, take nothing away from Callum Simpson. Like you know, I want him to go on and do good things. There's like you say, there's a lot to like about him. I mean, it's not to do with the fact that the tragedy that's happened. He's just a likable character anyway.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah, he's a likable character anyway. So, you know, I think he's Ben Shalom's got a good little fighter there in him, and you know, and you build him in the right way, you can maneuver him into a good position. And like you say, and he's got a crowd behind him as well, which is always a good thing. So yeah, I'd like to listen. He's got this one out of the way. I hope he comes in as motivated as he did for that one. I hope, you know, for his next fights and that, you know, come with that type of spike, come with that type of drive. And you never know, man. You know, get him on the European next.
Yeah.
And then see what comes of it after that. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot to like about him. And he did throw some good shots. He threw it with some venom as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see where he goes next, man. It was good.
Well, that's it. You said about, does he go European next? The undefeated European champion, Kevin Saggio, the French guy. That would be probably, obviously, you're doing Commonwealth and British and go down that route and then jump into world level. Or does he want to defend? Well, he said he wants to defend those belts, the English belt anyway, the British belt, sorry, so he can keep it, defend it 3 times.
Yeah.
However, he was on the radio on Saturday night after his victory, and he's talking about Liam Cameron. Now, obviously, Liam Cameron's going through this bullshit with Boxer and Ben Shalom and Ben Whittaker trying to get this rematch. Obviously, Liam Cameron is from Sheffield. Callum Simpson is from Barnsley, both South Yorkshire boys. Callum Simpson obviously sold 7,000 when he fought against Zach Shelley at Oakwell. You do them now. Liam Cameron's on the radar of people. People know about him. He's the one that kind of stopped the rot, if you like, against Ben Whittaker, put him in his place. Mate, that does double figures probably. You can probably get 17,000 for that.
Well, do you know what you could do? You could put that low down on a turkey card.
That's Cameron 2 I'm talking about. You could do that in the summer. If Liam Cameron was to drop weight from light heavy to super middle, that's a cracking fight,
Yeah, like I say, you could obviously we got the turkey card coming up in February, which is like an all-star fucking card. But you had the odd card, which add a Josh Padley and a Mark Chamberlain. You could put that Liam Cameron and Callum Simpson on a low down of a turkey card for me, and it would be warranted. And I don't think you'd get any issues with that.
British title fight as well.
Yeah. I'm all for that. And Liam Cameron deserves to get a shot as well. So why not?
Definitely. Caroline Dubois does damage. Look, mate, I'm going to go exactly down the same route as Justis Huni. Not as bad. Said it last week, mate. Rubbish opponent, rubbish matchmaking. Forget that. We don't want to see fighters like that. She came in there, Caroline Dubois, and beat her opponent up in Jessica Kamara. Beat her up, bruised her, bust her eye up, cut her. It was a technical draw in the end, obviously, but it didn't go to the scorecards unless it goes out after 4. Should never have been in the ring with Caroline Dubois. No. She rocked the night after in her interview. Terry Harper's the fight to make. It's as simple as that. We keep saying it over and over again. It's not the girl's fault. There's different pools in the women's division. There's elite, there's domestic, and then there's rubbish. Caroline Dubois is the world champion. She's in the elite bracket. She needs Terry Harper now. She needs the RBF champion in Ferreira. Then we do Chantel Cameron at the end of the year up at 140. End of.
Yeah. She to be fair, she had some venom and and wanted to do some damage as well, and she did.
Cheese, that fight was chalk and cheese.
Yeah, she didn't enough close the girl's eye in the first round. Then there was an accidental headbutt. But did you see the corner from Camera's corner? Say to her, when a doctor comes to you, say you can't see.
Didn't want to be there. Didn't want to be there,
like I said, but she don't have a loss on her record, even though the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
She was going to get stopped. She was going to get stopped heavily. But you've seen the cut on the eyebrow. The blood was trickling down the side. But listen, you can't blame the corner. The corner's played the game there. Round 2. Everyone knows, other than Caroline Dubois, that it will be a technical draw if in the first 4 rounds, because
it should have been a knockout, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah, Caroline Dubois was
on a record and a resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but she was thinking that she won that.
Yeah,
she did. But to be fair, she did. But
of course she did.
When it's a technical draw, I see her look round, and I knew because she had her sort of arm up like she's won, and I knew she didn't know about the 4 round thing until it was announced. But she keeps the belt, so it is basically a win. But she absolutely battered this girl from pillar to post. There was so much quality there, and the girl was defending herself with face first. Her eye was battered, and one eye was busted, one eye was closed, nose busted.
Hey, that's after 2 rounds. How much of her face was after 2 rounds?
2-minute rounds as well. 2-minute rounds and all.
Yeah, that wouldn't have gone past 3 anyway, Dave. She was battered, she was bruised, she didn't want to be there. She came to survive. Well, she didn't even come to survive. She came to fucking spew it. Rubbish.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it.
Yeah, and she did spew it. But listen, I don't sort of blame her while you're looking at her face. But she's also fucked. I'll bet. Because technical draw.
Your bet.
I know. My banker of the week. Only I could get. I told you, it was the minute we start betting on it, we start getting technical draws. We never had one of them last year.
No. But at least there's £2 in the pot, which we'll elaborate on a bit later.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Going towards a good cause at the end of the year. But just quickly to end on this segment, mate. We've obviously got the Royal Albert Hall coming up March the 7th with Lauren Price against Natasha Jonas, a kind of change of the guard. We need that co-main on there. We need Caroline Dubois versus Terry Harper. You have to have that. What a great co-main and main event for an all-women's card.
Yeah. And you know what?
Give Caroline Dubois. I know they move about in the weight divisions, but obviously Caroline Dubois in this division she's in at the moment, still being a young girl, she needs a test. She needs jeopardy. She needs someone with another belt. Again, I've spoken about Justis Huni and the opponents he needs to be going in with if he's going to move forward. Caroline Dubois in a shallow pool needs Terry Harper next. No other fight's good enough. The next, if it's not Terry Harper next, if it's not Ferreira, unless she jumps up in weight, any other opponent's going to be like, well, we're going to go back to making a cup of tea days. I'd pop my head in when Caroline Dubois knocked her out. Oh, it stopped.
Yeah, and do you know what I'd like to say as well? Terry Harper looked fantastic in her last fight. And that was one of the best I've seen of her. So it bruised this fight up nicely. And like I say, also makes it closer for me. A few fights ago, I would have said Caroline Dubois walked through Terry Harper. But, you know, like I say, you can only as good as your last fight, which you said at the beginning of this pod. And based on her last fight for me, that's the best I think Terry Harper's looked in a long, long time, which makes this fight really, really tight and really, really good and really, really interesting. So when Caroline Dubois called her name out, I was thinking, yes, I'm all for that. That's a close fight for me based on the last fights that they've had. And that'll brew nicely for me. I would look forward to that should that be announced. I really would.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. So that was the fights that we previewed last week. Performance of the week, Dave. Who gets your vote this week, brother?
I would go Opetaia.
Yeah, it's quite tough this week, isn't it? Justis Huni obviously went in and done what he was supposed to do against, a tin can, if you like. Jai Opetaia got caught a few times he probably shouldn't have done, but he went into beast and savage mode. One of the knockouts of the year. Caroline Dubois, unfortunately, as we just said there, got a technical draw when it probably should have been a knockout by the ruling. And obviously controversy with Callum Simpson. Obviously, between Callum Simpson and Jai Opetaia. It wasn't such a poor stoppage. I would have gone for Callum.
That's what I was going to say. If Callum Simpson would have got the defining finish, then it would have been him, based on everything that was around it and whatnot. But you got to look at the knockout from Opetaia. He's put him to sleep. Yeah. So we'll give it to Opetaia this week.
Agreed. Right. Let's get back to some of our usual segments this year in 2025. Yeah. We've done the Martin McCauley thing, the Michael Hunter thing last week. We're carrying it on. Dave is chasing the superstars, the stars, the promoters, the boxers. Oscar De La Hoya Hunt update. How are we looking on getting you that motherfucker to follow you, Dave?
Well, so I was on a train on Thursday morning. I went onto my Twitter/X and there was no clapback Thursday. So straight away, I went directly to Oscar De La Hoya and said, Oscar, 2025, we need a clapback Thursday. Don't let us down. They were fantastic. I've licked his ass, basically, for clapback Thursday. Anyway, yeah, I don't mind. Listen, I really don't mind. I'll do it. And knowing him with like the fishnet tights and that he wears, he'd probably like it. But anyway, that's for another day.
That's for another day. But let me just write that down for when we come off air.
Yeah, we got it all today. Fucking love holidays and fucking licking fucking De La Hoya's.
Piece, yeah. Mate, he's in London at the moment. He was just at the presser.
Oh yeah, well, where was the presser today?
Greenwich, I'm guessing.
Oh, was it? What at the O2?
I'm guessing so, mate. I'll have to go onto Google, but I did watch it. I didn't catch the start of it, but it's somewhere in London anyway. So you're only down the road, Dave, on the Central Line, brother. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get down there and go and tell him to do it. But anyway, a few hours later, he put a tweet out which you couldn't comment on because he's been doing that lately. Bearing in mind, he hasn't tweeted since he done the 12 days of clapback Christmas. That was his last video or tweet, which was like on Christmas Eve. So he ain't been active. Anyway, he tweeted out that he's had I think it was just my tweet that started this, but I'll never know. But he said he's had a load of messages today saying about Clapback Thursday, and mine was one of them. And don't worry, fans, it's coming back. So he said that he's going to be active with the old Clapback Thursdays in 2025. And that is it so far. He never liked my tweet, the prick, but he definitely read it for what he sent out, I think.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So there's no follow, there was no like, but I feel like because I sent him a question that day for the Clapback Thursday and he sort of replied to everyone, I feel like he was replying to me. So I'm taking that as a positive. So that's where we are with De La Hoya, my friend. That is where we are.
Who are you trying to convince for that bit? Yourself or the masses?
No, I'm 100% convinced he read mine. but he didn't acknowledge it. So I'm going to have to just take. But I just thought, I must have been the only one that tweeted him, and so that's what I'm taking. So yeah, he basically answered to me without answering to me.
Yeah, it's always next week, brother.
There is, and like I say, if he's got something to promote, he's active. Right, so the first time this year, it's David McDonald and the Dongs. I'm going to go dark at it because it's on me. It's on my phone.
He always says that now.
I've got news. Right, something you'd be interested in here, Dave. Confirmed.
I'm interested in boxing related, brother.
Yeah, so confirmed. Dennis Berencic will defend his WBO lightweight world title against Keyshawn Davis on February 14th, Valentine's Day, isn't it? In New York, live on ESPN. Thoughts?
Well, Keyshawn gets a world title fight, gets a world title shot.
Do you think he gets a world title?
Mate, when we saw him against Gustavo Lemos, I thought there was jeopardy there. Obviously, Lemos was a big puncher, comes forward. We saw the trouble he gave Richardson Hitchens. But Keyshawn Davis showed us that night that he had different. He had what's the word I'm looking for? He had more in his arsenal than we expected him to have. We thought, he's just he's got great feet, fast hands, Olympian, moves well. Hit and not get hit. He's got the sweet science. But that night he went in front-footed and knocked Lemos out, and everyone was like, "Wow, I didn't know that Keyshawn existed."
Yeah.
And he do that against Berencic. Berencic is obviously a more technical boxer than Lemos. It'd be a little bit more of a chess match. But if now I know Keyshawn can bring the smoke, I fancy him 100%, Dave. That's a good. Obviously, we saw him against Navarrete. Obviously, I don't know if he had weight issues. Navarrete. It weren't a Navarrete of old. Yes, it was a close fight, but it's kind of worked him out. But don't get me wrong, even though we love Navarrete, he's very open. He's very easy to hit. He's very easy to point score against. Keyshawn, Keyshawn's a completely different kind of fighter.
Yeah.
All different, kind of game plans. I say he's got fast hands, fast feet, moves and angles, beautiful pivots. I think he's going to be world champion, mate. The unfortunate thing for Keyshawn Davis is this is going to be the year of Andy Cruz, and he's never beat Andy Cruz. So while he has that title, enjoy it, brother, because that motherfucking Cuban, my prospect of the year last year, should I say, he's going to have a great 2025. He's going to take it off you. But yeah, to your original question, Dave, I think Keyshawn can do it. I think it's a good fight. And I'll be backing him. So what do you think about the fight? I think it's a good fight.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think it's a good fight, and I think the timing's right. Obviously, there was question marks on Keyshawn Davis. People were unsure whether he hasn't looked great in some of his performances, but he's come into his last fight against what was his name, Lamino?
Gustavo Lemos,
Lemos. Sorry, Gustavo Lemos, and he's done an absolute number on him. So the timing for me is right, and you're right. He's we know he can work on the back foot. We know he can be that type of fighter. Like he's gone on the front foot there, and he's devastating performance. And now it's almost like he's been built correctly. He's ready, and obviously this will be a tougher test. And I don't think he goes and walks through Berencic like that.
Oh, I don't know.
So he's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to do things differently. But he's shown that he's got different ways to fight, and I think that's what he needed to show. So I think timing's everything, and I think it'll be a closer fight. But based on what we know so far, I think he does the job. I think he does it on a comfortable points victory for me.
And you remember we said in the past that Berencic is one of the weaker champions in this division. He's the weakest champion because we were talking about Cepeda going down that route. And obviously Cepeda's now he's gone down a different route. He's got a WBC bullshit belt, which puts him line to face the winner of Shaka and Floyd Schofield. But that's supposed to be Cepeda's fight. So he's one of the weaker champions, man. So yeah, definitely go for it.
Absolutely. Right. Super lightweight contest between Oscar Duarte and Regis Prograis is being targeted to headline a Golden Boy show, the Zone show, on February 15th. So that's the same weekend in California. So, that's not a bad little fight there. Duarte versus Prograis.
Yeah. When we done Prograis versus Cattrall, mate, we said Prograis didn't belong at the top table anymore, for my memory serves me right. Duarte's had a decent fight against Ryan Garcia. Off the top of my head, he got knocked out in the end, but he brought jeopardy. He's a big puncher.
He was on a Turkey show as well, wasn't he, recently?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember who he fought now, mate.
Yeah, he was on a Turkey show. I can't remember who it was against.
Without boxer, I can't remember. But yeah, it's an okay fight, mate. I can't. Yeah. For me, I'm going for more from a Regis Prograis point of view. That version of Regis Prograis that fought against Josh Taylor, that's long gone now. He's a world level fighter, but he's very beatable now.
But we said against Jack Catchall, we thought it was a better performance from Regis Prograis, and he just sort of, in his interview after, just gave way too much credit for what the actual fight was. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
He was praising Jack Catchall like Jack Catchall actually scored him for 12 rounds, and that wasn't the case.
No. But, mate, put it this way. To sum this, for me, in my opinion, that you might be completely different. If Oscar Duarte went and beat him, I wouldn't sit here and be shocked.
No.
4 or 5 years ago, I would have gone, wow. How has that even happened? Regis Prograis, the next gen. So, yeah.
But like we said there, we don't think that the Prograis is top level now, top tier now. But
I don't think
if he isn't, this is a good type of fight for him, isn't he? Because he's sort of where we think at his sort of level now. You know what I mean? In types of fight.
I think he's world level, Dave, but I just don't think he belongs at the top table anymore.
No. So it's a fight with just it is what it is sort of fight, isn't it? It's not going to set the world alight, but it's happening. So
is it a rebuild fight for him? He's obviously main event, getting paid. Where does he go from here? But yeah.
One of them. It's one of them, mate.
One of them, as they say. It is what it is, whatever that fucking means. It's just an overused phrase that we always use, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck,
So David Adeleye and Moses Atuma have both withdrawn from their ordered mandatory contest for Adelaye's English heavyweight title.
Are you shocked? I'm not.
No. Well, Atuma's got bigger fish to fry.
Mate, David Adeleye is on a rebuild. They're both Queensberry fighters. Frank wants to make money off Adeleye like he does Moses Atuma. He's not going to put 2 of his guys in there knowing Moses Atuma highly likely will smoke Adeleye. That means David Adeleye puts 1 foot forward and he takes 2 steps back. He's just come off a nice little rebuild fight. I know it was only 1 round against Solomon Dakers.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to put him backward again by going in with Atuma and sort of denting his confidence and another rebuild, if you like. So it kind of makes perfect sense, especially from a Queensberry point of view. We said before, Moses Atuma was all about being the quickest ever world heavyweight champion, going down different routes, different avenues. So yeah, totally get it. Is it a fight I'd want to see? 100%. But I understand why they've both pulled out. I don't believe they've pulled out themselves. It's been a Queensberry and a management point of view. But yeah, let David Adeleye go and fight somebody else that's not as destructive as Moses Atuma. But if Moses Atuma was going down the English, Commonwealth, British, European route, mate, then it would be the fight to make for him. But he's clearly not. He's getting in. Trying to look for world honours, getting paid as much as he can, and then getting out. That seems to be the narrative of Moses Atuma. So yeah,
I'm with you. If they were looking to build him, he's young enough, and at any other time that should be the case. English, British, Commonwealth, European, because he's got plenty of time on his side. But he's already proved that he's way beyond that level. And for me, where he's going now, it's a step down to be fighting for that title and fighting Adeleye. He's already passed him.
Mate, you said it earlier. You probably put the nail on the head. The fight for David Adeleye could be Justis Huni.
Yeah.
For both guys, irrelevant of the English title, forget that for a second. But just as a fight, that's good matchmaking. I think that's good matchmaking for both. There's no reason David Adeleye can't beat Huni and vice versa.
Yeah.
David Adeleye is a step up from what he's been fighting since Lorena, and Justis Huni is a prospect, which would be a good test for Adeleye. See where Adeleye is in his career, like Huni. So yeah. But I haven't got a problem with them both pulling out, mate. I kind of thought it would go like that. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be made. So yeah, it's one of them. This one, is not a bad little shout here. So Pat McCormack will face Robbie Davis Jr. in an eliminator for the British welterweight title on February 15th again. There's a lot happening on February 15th on the Jack Catchall Arnold Barboza Jr. undercard.
Yeah, Robbie Davis Jr. Didn't we see him against Sergei Lipinets back last year, trying to make a comeback? He's been fighting on those pro box cards, isn't he? Over in the States. Pat McCormack, I think he's had. Who did Pat McCormack fight last? See, I haven't got a boxer in front of us. I can't remember. No. McCormack's a very talented boxer. I think he's only had 1 defeat. If my memory serves me right. But Robbie Davis Jr. seems to be going in the right direction. He's trying to have a rebuild, the Scouser, to get himself back into contention. But yeah, it's kind of a local Northwest kind of cards, putting on two decent guys that want a kind of a rebuild and trying to have one last roll of the dice, if you like. But yeah, good fight on a card.
That's why I put it in the news there. I thought that's a decent enough scrap that, then to build for an undercard. I think that's not, I've got no problems with that fight. To be fair.
As we're talking a bit later, try and see if you can get Pat McCormack's box rec up for me, because it's going to bug me otherwise.
Yeah, all right, mate. Once you get chatting on the other ones, I'll go dark and I'll do it. One you already know about, confirmed. Naoya Inoue will defend his undisputed super bantamweight championship against South Korean's Yi Jung King on January 24th in Tokyo, following Sam Goodman's second withdrawal from the fight. Nasty cut Sam Goodman had there.
And a lot of luck is he? And a lot of luck is he?
No, he's not. No, maybe it's done him a favour, because for me it was only going to go one way, but it's not looking like he's going to get that fight now. And what I don't want, because obviously everyone wants the the MJ fight, and and Nakatani. They want all them type of fights. I hope that now this has happened, his next fight goes into later in it, because he does fight 3 times a year. So middle of the year ends up being Sam Goodman again, and we lose that. We're getting pushed out again. I'm hoping that's not the case with this. But take nothing away from Sam Goodman. That cut was legit. It was a nasty, nasty cut. That was
Fury-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest, Dave, mate, we're all on the Inoue train. We're just going to wait to see what round he detonates in. But where have they plucked this guy from? Why are they putting this guy in front of him? I don't think he's even ranked. I think he's ranked like number 12 in one sanctioning body. It's a shit for Inoue. I've got to be honest, Dave. I don't know whether it's one of the sanctioning bodies giving it to him. I don't know whether it's a voluntary. I don't know if it's Team Inoue or Top Rank that's picked this guy. I don't know if it's Uncle Honda. It's a rubbish fight. It's a rubbish fight, mate.
I know. 2 weeks' notice is not his fault, though.
There's no jeopardy here whatsoever for him. At least you want someone that's going to throw back. Somebody that's got a little bit savvy that can change. I'd rather see fucking Marlon Tapales Part 2 again. Honestly, mate, it's rubbish. It's a rubbish fight. When we do mate, that's next weekend, and we'll be sitting here next Monday saying, what round? And we'll pick a round and we'll fucking move on. And it should be like that for Inoue fights. It should be jeopardy. It should be blue corner versus red corner, 50-50. I don't get it.
I know, mate. The only thing you can't really be too, you can't be too harsh, mate. It was a 2 weeks notice. It's not his fault. It must be difficult to get a decent enough opponent within 2 weeks, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. You probably could have got better, but I find it very hard to be overcritical, because it's not. It definitely wasn't the first choice. Maybe in the future they have someone on standby, but decent enough on standby to go, look, you're in camp. Decent enough, and if this ain't happened, you're in.
Mate, I do get it, but you're not telling me there's not better opponents out there for a new age. Just think of Shabazz Massoud sitting here in the UK, keeping himself fit. Just give him the phone call, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is, mate. This ain't a bad scrap either. We've got a few of these, like with Robert Davis Jr. and Pat McCormack. So Zelfa Barrett and Jazza Dickens on the same card as it goes will clash on the February 15th in the Jack Catchell Honourable Boza Jr. undercard in Manchester. There's a few decent enough little scraps there.
It's a northern card, isn't it? This is turned into a northern card. Yeah,
so Zelfa Barrett's just come off a great win. And Jazza Dickens has been around, for a long time. So I think so. But that could be a decent enough scrap as well. So there's a few like British clashes there.
It's a northern domestic card, isn't it? This turn.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually building to be quite a decent enough card. That.
Yeah. So, the only thing that made it better would have been Jack Catchell fighting for a world title, but obviously I'll have a moan and groan going into that fight, mate. But maybe I won't know how I feel about it. So yeah, apart from that, you're right. It's turned into a decent card, mate.
Yeah. Here we go. One we were talking about last week. Dennis McCann has reportedly tested positive for the banned substances drostanolone and tremolabone, whatever they are, in a failed VADA test, resulting in the cancellation of his fight with Peter McGrail. Two substances, which I said last week that Frank Warren had apparently sort of said that there was more than one in there. So, naughty from Dennis McCann. Shame, really, because I really wanted to see that fight. And, he was building up a bit of a following as well, old Dennis the Menace, but it's rife.
It's very naughty. The second one you said there, for my knowledge, they call it Trem. It's for bodybuilders. and it's a substance which I believe. Don't quote me on it, but I've heard it a few times. It's a substance that can't be found in tainted supplements, so you have to sort of take it yourself rather than it being found in foods and protein powders and stuff like that. And you've got to look at Dennis McCann. We joked last week: was it the eggs or was it the Haribos? The size of him, since he's kind of changed gyms and become this ferocious puncher that he wasn't kind of previous. You cross the lines. You do the dots. You do a bit of reading in between the lines, if you like, and two and two together. It's more sort. It looks more sort of conclusive than the Conor Benn situation. He's probably looking about a 4-year ban.
Yeah,
he's looking about a 4-year ban. That drug, to my knowledge, doesn't benefit you with any sort of cardio when it comes to boxing. That's a bodybuilder to make yourself big, strong, hench.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it doesn't look good. It doesn't.
And to be fair, he looked that, didn't he? Going into his last fight, he looked. Was it Beluta he fought again? Remember Beluta? He went life and death. And I know it got stopped on an injury or something, didn't it? But when he came into the second fight, he was like a completely different fighter. He fucking bulldozed him, and that weren't the way it was in the first fight. So I know you can put 2 and 2 together and come up with 10, but it looks if it's very much with Alicia Gardner. She was walking around, wasn't she, like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger at one point?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
And again, Conor Benn. Conor Benn was fucking icing everyone, and then he's had 2 fights in America since then, and couldn't take a skim off a rice pudding. So it's the writing's on the wall. It's a shame as well because I'm starting to like Dennis McCann, but I think they may make an example of him.
Yeah, I don't think that UK and Varda will fuck up as much as they did with the Conor Benn situation. As I said, I might be completely wrong, but it's a substance that you have to sort of take separately from something that's been tainted, from what I understand. So if he's done the dirty deed, mate, he deserves to be punished.
But I mean, what excuses can they come out with now? We've had the eggs, we had that, we've had supplements. There's always one that gets used. So I'd like to see what comes out and says how it got in there. But listen, that's one we'll come back to. Yeah. But yeah, silly boy, because he was, he was starting, he was on an Uncle Turkey card there. He has a good win against Pete McGrath, and you just don't know. You know what I mean? There could have been world titles. He's just gone backwards, so he's had a bit of a stinker there.
Super bantamweight. You could have been talking Inoue.
Yeah.
Can Inoue is much better than Inoue versus this South Korean dude. Come on. He's no favours whatsoever. No favours whatsoever.
Exactly.
Obviously, we haven't got results yet, so we don't know what's going to happen, but it's highly likely from what we're reading, what we're hearing, that it could be a lengthy ban, Dave. So,
yeah. I'll skip past that bit of news there. It was Tyson Fury retires.
Fake news.
But we've got on. We'll come back. We've already spoke about that at the start of the pod. But there's my last bit of news for the night. This is not a decent scrap as well. I'll give you this one, whether you've seen it or not. Harlem Eubank will face Tyrone McKenna in a welterweight matchup on March 7th, live on Channel 5. Well, that's not a bad little scrap there. We was talking about Eubank. He done a face-off with Azim. That never came off. He didn't look good in his last fight. He stunk the place out. But this is a decent enough scrap. Tyrone McKenna likes to come to fight as well. He's quite tall. He's rangy, and he's up for a scrap. So I could see this being a decent enough scrap. This on Channel 5. I'll get up for this fight.
Yeah, I like this. We said after the Erdogan fight, it was completely rubbish from both men. It was a 8-rounder, made no actual sense. It was crap fight. It was turn off TV. Anyone that came to watch the Eubank name thinking it was Chris Eubank Jr. watched Harlem and thought, what's this pile of crap? We said he needs to be more active. I think he fights once a year, if that. He's going in with Tyrone McKenna. And to be fair, McKenna's only lost to names. Anything's better than fucking Erdogan fight. So this is a good fight. We like Harlem Eubank. He's a quiet, humble guy, nothing like his cousin. Get him active. Get him fights. He can fight. He can box. He can punch. He is a good fighter. This is a bad night at the office, which didn't look good for him. So let's get him the Tyrone McKenna fight. It looks like it's been made. It's on Channel 5 on the Wasserman show. Get the win and then move on. For at least 3 times this year, Dave, for Harlem Eubank. He's 20. What is he now? 20-0, something like that. Now we need to see him in with Jeopardy. Now we need to see him go and try and win a version of a title. There's plenty of potential there. It's just how he's managed, how the matchmaking is. But Tyrone McKenna for a start of the year fight, I'm all for it. Good luck, and I'll be back to him. Good luck to Harlem Eubank. That's a great start for him to be fighting in January, whereas last time we saw him, he fought in the November or something of 2023. So you do the math. He's already more active than he has been in his previous 2 years. So yeah, I like it. I like it, mate.
Yeah, and that's it. for David McDonald tonight and the Dong.
To be fair, I thought you was going to mention about Liam Cameron and Ben Whittaker not being made, or the struggle of it being made. Have you seen what's going on?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Yeah, it wasn't on my news, but yeah, they're talking. But eventually, I'm suing him or something for some. I can't work it out.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. So, from what I understand and what I've seen, you probably read the same sort of bits and pieces on social media.
Yeah,
Boxer made an offer to put the fight on for obviously Whittaker Cameron too. Queensbury have come back and said, no, we're happy to do that fight, but we'll offer Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron even more money. And it seems like Ben Shalom doesn't want to go over to, which will be DAZN, which he has his fight on DAZN anyway. There's something in the middle that's keeping them two apart. I don't think it's Ben Whittaker. It's clearly not Liam Cameron, but we're at the stage now in Boxing Day where we've moved on. The promoters are kind of irrelevant. The promoters have always really been, they've told us we work for that fighter. So Ben Shalom's main objective should be get Ben Whittaker the best fights and the most money he can. And he obviously he owns that as well, irrelevant of what TV platform it's on. So where's the problem? The fans want to see the fight. You know, the pundits want to see the fight. The fighters want to fight. It's the only fight to make. He needs to right the wrong, Ben Whittaker. Why are we stalling with it? If it is a case of Ben Shalom getting in the middle, then fuck off. Yeah. He's talking more, he's acting, he seems to be acting more like a manager rather than a promoter. Do you know what I mean? But it may not be Ben Shalom, but I just can't see why we're not getting that fight on. Did Ben Whittaker not want it? Does he not want the fight? He stated in the last couple of weeks that he wants to right that wrong. Good. Go and shut us, go and prove us all wrong that you did hurt your foot, that it was a bad fight in the office. Go in there and fucking, go back to your showboat him and take care of Liam Cameron. But it's a fight we all want to see next. And I don't understand what, you shouldn't be, mate. It shouldn't be down to Turkey every time to come in and just start throwing money at it, even though we've got no problem with it. And he's got an unlimited load of money that he can make this fight happen. But we're in an era where all the promoters are supposed to be working together. So just a little rant from me there, mate. I thought you might have mentioned that one because that's
I did brush past it, but like I say, I think it's going into the courts now. I mean, I know Frank Warren likes an old court case. But yeah, it seems weird. I can't see this. I just don't see why and what the need is for. So yeah, make the fight or don't make the fight. I just don't. I just want to, I want to see boxing. I don't want to hear about court cases over fucking fights being made. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. Right, you can see there, ladies and gentlemen. Prediction League. We said last week we're doing it a different way. Yeah. Same format in terms of scores, but we're not doing the massive score gap. Yeah. Did last year and the year before. We're doing it as a football's kind of score basis, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, all that kind of jazz. And let's see how we got on for the first week of the year. So Jai Opetaia versus David Nyika. We both went for Jai Opetaia by points. Obviously, you got the stoppage, so that's 1 point apiece there. Huni versus Pottinger. We both went Huni. Dave went for Huni by KO in round 3. So there's 3 points there for Dave. I got it bang on. So I've got a full house. Hey! Went for Huni in KO in round 2. So there's 6 points for me there. Simpson versus Woodall. We both went for Simpson on points. So a point apiece there. And obviously, Caroline Dubois versus Jessica Camara. We both went for Caroline by stoppage, but went to a technical draw, so there was no points apiece there. So going into this weekend's action for what there is, the scores last week, should I say, before I jumped the gun, David Holland 5, David Graham 8. So in our new format, 1-0. Hey, 1-0. I'm leading 1-0, folks. I'm leading 1-0. Can I keep the lead is another thing. It was only week 1, so we've got 53 other weeks to go. So, yeah, mate, 1-0 to the Graham.
Yeah. Well done, mate. Well done, mate. It's been a long time since I've heard you in the lead.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. This new format might suit you, and it was my fucking idea.
I know. Yeah.
But no, it's better that way. At least you ain't got to count up to fucking 386 and whatever else. Yeah. Fucking hell. So
yeah, we'll probably get to, hopefully we get to those sort of numbers with your Hollands Weekly Wager. So obviously that money can be put towards.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully, yeah. I had a stinker last week, but yeah, hopefully.
Well, let's see what's on show this weekend, guys. I've got there on the screen Omar Trinidad versus Mike Plania. Not a name really known to many well, definitely not to casuals and to hardcore boxing fans like me and Dave, I've had to do a little bit of digging. I've got to be totally honest. There's all going on this weekend. It's one of the weekends really that I've had to sort of look for stuff. So we've only got 2 fights to predict and preview for you. We've got here, as I said, Omar Trinidad versus Mike Polina. It's on a Friday night over at the Commerce Casino in California, USA. Local lad Trinidad takes on a more experienced opponent in the Filipino in Mike Polina in the featherweight division. Trinidad is 17-0 with 13 KOs. He's ranked number 6 with the WBC. So I've done my homework there, guys. He owns one of the America's Continental WBC bullshit belt, should I say. Means nothing to us on here. But if he wins here, guys, if Omar Trinidad wins here, it could sort of elevate him to fight a Stephen Fulton or a Shushu Carrington, who are like relatively 1 and 2 in the division. So sometimes it can benefit you, you know. So let's talk a little bit about Plania. As I said, he's a bit more experienced, even though he's a year younger than Omar Trinidad. He's 31-4, Dave. He's got 18 KOs. He's been stopped twice in his career by names we've mentioned on here a few times. Elijah Pierce, who has got power down at featherweight, and obviously Angelo Leo as well, stopped with a textbook body shot, which me and Dave indulged in a bit earlier. It's a step up for Trinidad by the looks of this, Dave. Obviously, he's going in with someone that's been in with better names, been around a little bit longer in terms of boxing, even though he's a year younger than Trinidad. We both had a look at their recent fights, how they box, what they do in the ring. From what I've seen of Trinidad, mate, he throws punches in bunches. He's got a massive gas tank. He's very front-footed. Plania looks a little bit more reserved. He seems to pick his shots a bit more, finds different angles. He seems to have more kind of, from what I've seen in knockouts, more one-punch power. And as this is it's refreshing to me and you, it's the first time we're going to watch these guys live for 10 rounds. I think this is a 50-50. I've got this as a little bit of a 50-50, if I'm honest. Obviously, I'm not going to sit on the fence doing it. Well, I could go draw. But it's a little bit of a 50-50. Is Trinidad the guy that's going to kind of go in with Fulton and Shushu Carrington next, a kind of a unknown quantity, if you like? Is he going to turn up on Friday night and put a wow factor performance? Or is the experience of Plania going to be like, well, you're ranked number 6, but I should be ranked number 6. I've been with the better opponents. I've got the one-punch power. I'm the better boxer. I've got the IQ and the generalship. I don't know. I should be a 50-50 this one, Dave. What are you thinking? What's the vibe you're getting with these two guys?
It's for me, I think this is going to be a really good scrap. I mean, for me, it's 2 different styles here. So you've got Omar Trinidad, who's very much on the front foot, throws a lot of punches. Very Nick Ball-esque, you know, with going forward, and very, it looks got a massive engine, like not
taller than Nick Ball, but yeah.
yeah. But I mean that type of style, where on the front, like it's a Zepeda sort of style. But the only thing is, I feel like he throws punches very wide. He's got like a sort of a wide side. He throws hooks from a sort of wide angle, which leaves him a little bit open through the centre, which I think Mike Plania can maybe exploit. But for Mike Plania to have success, he's got to make sure he's not being pushed back. And from what I see of him, he likes to be centre of the ring, throw single shots. Very lot more calculated than Omar Trinidad. So for me, it's a really, really good merge of styles for me. You got one that likes to take centre of the ring and box box clever, and you've got Omar Trinidad who throws a lot of punches, tries to push opponents back. Gets a lot of his KOs are TKO, where he gets him up on the ropes and the referee jumps in. Throws
like fuck, doesn't he?
Yeah, so the referee tends to. For what I saw of him, all of his sort of stoppages are the referee saying his opponent's had enough.
Yeah.
So if Mike Plania can stop, not be pushed back, it might be a different type of fight or he tries to push Trinidad back. We don't know what he's like on the front, on the back foot. We see a lot of these fighters who go on the front foot, look fantastic, but the minute they get pushed back, they're a different type of fighter. So there's a lot of questions in this fight, and it looks like it could be a really, really good fight, a really close fight. For me, I think that yes, they're similar age, but I also think career-wise, one's on the up and the other one's, I wouldn't say on a downward spiral, but he's had a couple of defeats, stagnant, yeah. And I think that I'm going to go for Omar Trinidad to win, and I think he's going to win by knockout.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for Trinidad in round 9.
Yeah, I like it. He's ranked at number 6, I think, for a reason. Planilla's not ranked anymore. Obviously, this is for a WBC belt, for what it's worth. So if he does do the business and beats Trinidad, he just have to start paying sanctioning fees and get himself back into the mix. Can he do that? I don't know. You're right. It's 2 different styles. I know Planilla, but looking at his highlight reel knockouts, mate, he does seem to carry a bit more one-punch power than Trinidad. But it's the relentlessness of Trinidad, overwhelming him, overpowering him, won't leave him alone. Will he be able to navigate his way out of the way of Trinidad? I'm going the same way as you. Mate. And obviously, we've seen him being knocked out twice. Elijah Pierce does carry a lot of power down there. But it was, I think, you know what? I think that looking back, it was 2023. I'm sure Mike Planilla, I have to double check again on BoxRec, was the guy that fought Elijah Pierce when we done one of our first.
I was going to say that his name we've spoken about before. Yeah. We definitely have.
Remember, we were saying he was more or less losing the fight, Elijah Pierce, and he pulls out these howitzers and people. So my only issue in this fight, and which I'm giving Mike Planilla, a bit of a chance, is that, like I said, you see Trinidad get people on the ropes and he swings from a wide stance. I feel like, if with Mike Planilla carrying that one punch power, he can maybe catch Trinidad on the way in down the center. That's my only issue. But I do think that the relentlessness of Trinidad maybe picked too much for Planilla. And I think, from what we see of him, he's got some engine and he throws so many punches. So I think that would be the telling difference for me. Do you know what, though? I like it when it's like this, when it's 50-50 and you can't pick. Even though we haven't seen these two guys live as of yet, we've gone back and done a little bit of homework on them.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it's hard, isn't it? Do you know what? Just to go against you for some points, I'm going to go, what you just said there, mate, does make sense. If he does throw wide hooks and stuff like that, uneducated, if you like, punches and bunches. And some of the stuff you saw of him is quite Mbili-esque, isn't it? Throwing wide. So he could get away in by that one punch, that fucking right back handle.
That's what I mean. Like Mike Planilla, he's got some decent enough skills. Like I say, he stands center of the ring and he throws single shots. Now he could walk him onto one. Because Omar Trinidad, he's going to come straight forward.
Go on then. What round did you go for? Round 9?
I went 9 Trinidad.
Go on, and I'll go for the Filipino. I'll go for Mike Planilla to knock him out in round 9. Knock Trinidad in round 9.
Yeah, I see that you've gone 1-0 up and just getting cocky now.
I'm going again. Mate, it's so hard to pick. I can see both. From what we've seen, I can see both scenarios working out.
Yeah. It's just for me, the engine makes a difference. But that's boxing for you. He can walk straight onto one. Game over.
Yeah, it sounded like for there being fuck all on this weekend, it sounded like we've sold it as a really good fight already, haven't we?
I can see that being a good scrap. That I really can.
Secondly, guys, well, we're only doing 2 this weekend because of the lack of fights. Kazakhstan's Ali Akhmedov takes on America's Malcolm Jones. This is in the super middleweight division. Akhmedov is he's another guy. I've done my homework. He's ranked with the WBC and he's ranked with the IBF. He's on a 6-fight winning streak since he was knocked out in the 12th round back in 2020 against a decent level of opponent in Carlos Gongora. He's been a distance twice since that fight in 2020. One of them was against a veteran in Gabe Rosado. So in no way I'm saying, even though I've got a love for the Kazakhs and the Uzbeks, I don't think Ali Akhmedov is a world-class fighter, fringe world level, if you like, trying to make his way into the, getting into the mix, if you like. Malcolm Jones, his opponent, he's won 2 of his last 6, Dave. He's been knocked out in 3 of them. I'm just trying to read my messy notes right. And he's been knocked out in 3 of them. The Kazakh, he's had 16 knockouts in 23 fights. So that ratio is half decent for the level of fighter who's been up against. Again, we went back and watched. It's been harder to get footage on Malcolm Jones. So I haven't really delved into what he's done in the ring. I've gone more off his resume. But looking at what I've seen of Akhmedov, he's another guy that has punches in bunches, seems to have decent feet. He's got that kind of, the stance isn't the old-fashioned European. You can see he's based out in America now, and that's that kind of Eastern European low-level stance. That's kind of gone. But he is quite aggressive on the front foot. He does throw a lot of punches. Again, I don't think this is as hard to call. No. If I'm totally honest, mate, this is over 10 rounds. Akhmedov is on a rebuild. Where does this fight take him if he wins against Malcolm Jones? Malcolm Jones is a club level fighter, so it's a lot easier to kind of work out what's going to happen here. I don't think there's a huge amount of jeopardy here, but as I said, no disrespect to either guy, but I think Ali Akhmedov will get so far. If you're not getting rid of a veteran in Gabe Rosado, even at this stage of your career, and don't get me wrong, Gongora was or is a decent level of opponent, there's only so far you're going to get. But I think Akhmedov is a level above Malcolm Jones. And I'm going to go in straight away here, Dave, before you say your Peneth. Ali Akhmedov to stop Malcolm Jones in... Again, round 9, over 10 rounds. So, yeah, another knockout, and I'm going for the Kazakh, mate. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with you. I saw the fight against Rosado. I like some of the work that he put in there. You know, he throws some decent enough shots, but Rosado, you know, he fought Martin Murray.
He's fought everyone, Rosado. I think he's had about losses. So
he's been around for a long time, so you expect him to win. I like some of the work, especially the body work. You know, he threw some really eye-catching shots. Again, didn't take him out, but Rosado can be a tough night's work. You know what I mean? He's a steady enough opponent. But I liked some of the work that I saw from Akhmedov in that fight. So yeah, for me, it's I think the writing's on the wall for Malcolm Jones. I think this is a nice tick over job.
Yeah.
You know, to start the year, getting the mince pies off.
The Kazakhs eat mince pies, Dave? I don't know that. Don't know the diet.
They're probably fucking wrestling with bears or whatever else. But but yeah, no, I can see this being a one-sided scrap for as long as it lasts. I don't think it goes as long as you. I think Akhmedov gets him out of there with a nice body shot, crumbles him in round 4.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, there were some nice eye-catching shots against Rosado, but in the clips in that I saw, Rosado wasn't throwing a lot back, so you know he was there to be teed off on. But he's tough as they come, so he lasted the distance. But for me, he goes through Malcolm Jones.
Yeah. Darren Till, if anybody knows Darren Till, most people in the UK. Don't get it wrong. I'm not making any predictions on this, Dave. I was going to because of the lack of what's going on. So he's making his boxing debut at the weekend. He's fighting against Anthony Taylor, who's also an MMA fighter turned boxer. So I did have a little look at it. Obviously, anybody knows Darren Till was supposed to be fighting Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury pulled out for whatever reason. Not that too bothered. But because it was a boxing match, we could have had a look at them and see what they were all about. However, I did dig into this fight and see what it was all about. It's under the Misfits series, Dave. So straight away, I went, nope, not for me.
Yeah.
It's over at the Co-op Live Arena. It's not on pay-per-view. So it's on the zone. I won't be watching. Nothing against Darren Till or Anthony Taylor, but when it's under an X Series Misfits card, it's sort of deemed for a certain audience, and that audience isn't for me. You can talk about it if you want, Dave, but I'll be swerving it if you want. If I'm honest,
no, I've not watched any of it. I do know that the reason that Tommy Fury pulled out, I think there was some betting going on. There was some
I didn't know. I don't know, honestly. So
the only thing I've heard of it is that there was some suspicious betting going on about the fact that Darren Till would end the fight with a kick.
Oh yeah, it was.
And he pulled himself out for that, so he didn't want to be any part of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he makes out that he's a professional boxer, Tommy Fury, but he only fights misfit guys. So he said, I don't want any part of that. So I think there was betting coming on that Darren Till would kick him during the fight. So that's what it looked like. Thought it was going to happen. So he didn't want any part of it.
I know he's a bit of a hothead, Darren Till. I don't think he'd jeopardise his purse. Do you?
Well, no. But then if the betting might be worth more than the fucking purse.
Yeah. So, either way, I won't be watching. So
no, I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah. Final part of the show, then, guys. Hollands Weekly Wager. We spoke about it briefly earlier. Last weekend, they predicted Caroline Dubois to knock out Jessica Kamara in round 6. Obviously, the same kind of format, but we turn points into pounds. So, as we said earlier, we got Dave got Caroline Dubois, right? So that's £1. So that's £1 out of Mr. Graham's pocket goes into the kitty, and Dave said he would obviously match it. So that's £1 coming out of Mr. Holland's purse, wallet, pocket, whatever, which makes £2 going into the kitty. Obviously, we didn't get the round right or the method of victory right. It went to a technical draw. So it was going that way anyway. I'll be highly confident in saying that Caroline would have stopped their opponent eventually, maybe round 3, maybe round 6, but who knows. But Dave's the guy to go to. There's not a lot of choice this weekend. He's made his predictions, but out of those 2 fights, brother, you've got to pick where the money's going this weekend. Where's the money going this week? Are we going to see £12 in the pot? Where are we going, man?
I think the first fight we spoke about, I think that's going to be a lot closer. That, that could go either way. So I'm going to put my banker on Akhmedov to win by KO. I think I said round 4, didn't I?
Round 4.
So, yeah. So that's my weekly wager on that one. It's like you said, there's not a lot to go on. I think the first fight, I think there's, I'm confident that the guy that I picked would win, but I think there's more jeopardy in that fight than there is in the Akhmedov fight. So for my weekly wager and my banker, I'm going for Akhmedov.
Yeah. So get your money out, guys. Get your money out, girls. Get your money out, kids. We've got a weekly. Well, we've got a banker. He's just said it there. We've got a banker this week.
If it's another technical draw, it'll be Graham's weekly wager next week.
When there's money on it, when there's jeopardy on it, when he's got a fork out, it's got to be my go. I lost my 30-odd points last week. But whatever charity we're going to pick, or the masses are going to pick at the end of the year, they're only £2 richer anyway. It's better in their pocket than it is ours.
Exactly.
So just on that fight card, I didn't mention that fight card. It's on UFC Fight Pass, by the way. So it's not on DAZN, it's not on Sky or TNT, anything like that. It's part of the I think it's part of the Dana White's Tom Lofier 360 knockout promotion. So I think it's the same guys that handle Cannon Walsh.
Oh yeah.
It's a different card, different channel. So if you can get UFC Fight Pass, ladies and gentlemen, jump in on Friday night. So yeah. So I think that's it, mate, for this week. Anything else to add, mate? Or any plans for the weekend, brother, before we say goodbyes and fuck off?
No plans at the moment, mate. I will. I'll update the masses on my Love Holidays.
Yes, please do. Yes.
Next week. If I'm still talking about it next week, if it's not resolved this time next week, I'll be fucking fuming. But I will be sure to update, because I know obviously we spoke for 10 minutes. People that are listening will want to know what's happened. It's almost like watching a TV show when you got a cliffhanger. So I'm sure you'll want to find out, and I'll be happy to update. But other than that, mate, no, I'm good. I'm all good, mate. Glad to do this. I've simmered down now since we spoke on this, so it's good for my mental health.
And your blood pressure.
Yeah, my blood pressure's through the fucking roof anyway. I take tablets for that.
Blood pressure, mental health, all that.
Yeah, my mental. Yeah, it's not good for this is good for my mental health. So I'll be able to sleep now, because you see, if I wouldn't have done this tonight, I'd have been fucking raging, and I'd have gone to bed with the ump. So I'm in a good mood now, and then I'll attack Ryanair and Love Holidays tomorrow morning.
Well, it's turned into a bit of a soap, isn't it? This podcast. It's what happens next week, like you just said. So
yeah, my life is like a fucking soap.
Yeah, EastEnders at your heart out.
Yeah, I've seen your WhatsApp picture. Barry Grant will be knocking on my door in a minute.
Barry Grant. Well, I've actually. Anybody that listened to What's the Story 90s Glory I used to do with Mickey McGrath, it was on this podcast. Back last year, I started watching the old episodes of Brookside from the 1980s, and I'm fucking hooked. I'm absolutely hooked on him. And obviously, he was a gangster. He's not so much a gangster at the moment. In the 80s, he does go into be a gangster in the 90s, but he's a bit of a wrong 'un. And I've got an obsessive nature, so I've changed my WhatsApp picture to Barry Grant. So if anybody wants a Brookside update as well next weekend, I'm happy to give it to you, along with the old Love Holidays jazz.
Just a friend of the show and your old podcast, What's the Story's 90 Glory. Paul McGrath interviewed Brian Robson, and I listened to it this morning, a bit of it this morning, and I swear to you, right, Brian Robson has only come out and said the only reason he's on that show is because he thought he was talking to Aston Villa's Paul McGrath. I swear to God, he said that, and you know what? It makes sense now, because remember, like he used to ring up Brian Robson, and Brian Robson would answer or text him back Merry Christmas. Oh, they've been talking since we done the Phoenix 5 show, and I swear to God, in the intro, he said that. He said I thought I was talking to Paul McGrath, and he said if you would have asked me years ago if Paul McGrath would have done the actual Paul McGrath would have done a podcast, I never would have thought. He said, so I was really surprised that he approached me. So he's for all these years, he thinks he's talking to Aston Villa's Paul McGrath, but not. He's talking to our Mickey McGrath. And it makes sense now because he's like, since we had the Phoenix 5 show, he's been talking to all the footballers like they're friends, and he's carried on talking to them. I think they're talking to the fucking actual footballer.
He's pulled the wool over everyone's eyes with that fucking name, isn't
yeah,
he?
Yeah, but old Brian Robson said it in the show, and then obviously Brian Robson must have looked at him, I thought, oh fuck, I've sort of agreed to it now, so he's gone along with it. So he's got an hour out of him, but I don't think he'll be getting texts back now. He knows it's him.
Well, Mickey McGrath does it via Zoom, so he's only had a look, and obviously, you know, the footballer Paul McGrath's black, and Mickey McGrath's white,
and ginger as
well.
He dropped. But honestly, that's what he said. He said, I thought it was the Paul McGrath. So, yeah. But there's Mickey giving it like he's friends with all these footballers. They don't even realise it's him.
Yeah, so everybody jump into that and have a listen. I haven't got around to that one yet, but now you've said that and it's made me a big grin on my face. Yeah, I think I'll be having a nosy in at that when I'm back to work this week. So, yeah.
That's funny, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so 1 hour 40 on 4 fights. Once me and Dave get talking, that's it. We could go on for another hour. Always something to talk about in the wonderful world of boxing. But that's going to be it, guys, for episode 93. Again, I said at the beginning when I got a bit tongue-tied, like, share, and subscribe via YouTube. And obviously, if you're audio listeners, should I say, Spotify and Apple are the places to go, along with a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. Next week, we'll be back again on Monday. I'll be looking forward to seeing the monster. I think he's fighting on a Friday, Dave. It's an unusual day for the Japs. Normally, it's a Monday, Tuesday, or a Sunday, isn't it? So
yeah.
He's fighting on a Friday night against a mediocre opponent. Hopefully, we'll find something else to talk about because it's literally what round with a new way. But tongue in cheek, we're going to talk about the monster and what's coming up next weekend. But we will be back on Monday, as I just said. So until then, have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe. And as I always say, for what it is, enjoy the bloody boxing. Davey boy, catch you Monday, mate. Have a good one.
Take care, brother. Have a good one.